Israel's ground incursion began early in the morning with a massive airstrike and naval assault on Gaza. This included infantry and armored vehicle raids. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagar made statements early yesterday signaling progress in the phases of war, stating that the Israel Defense Forces had entered the Gaza Strip and expanded its ground operations. He claimed that forces were still present in the area and continuing the conflict. During these attacks, Israeli warplanes directed their strikes at 150 underground targets in the northern Gaza Strip, including Hamas tunnels, as well as underground facilities and structures used as battlefields. These attacks resulted in the deaths of several Hamas militants. After the elimination of these militants, Hagar stressed that his death represented a positive advance in the stages of the war, weakening the enemy and allowing the forces on the ground to face a less resistant adversary. During these raids, the Israel Defense Forces managed to destroy multiple tunnels, finding indications that Hamas militants may have been sheltering in them for prolonged periods. Israeli forces have launched a thorough investigation into the tunnels discovered during these attacks. Additionally, they achieved another significant success by eliminating the militant group's air leader. Overnight, Israel Defense Forces fighter jets carried out a deadly strike against Qasem Abu Rakab, the head of Hamas's air wing. Abu Rakab was responsible for supervising drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, and aerial detection and defense systems used by Hamas. Rakab was involved in planning the tragic events of October 7th and led the terrorists who managed to infiltrate Israel using paragliders. Additionally, he was responsible for directing drone strikes against Israel's outposts and defense forces. As a result of these attacks, Israel obtained crucial information indicating that Hamas had meticulously built a complex underground network beneath Gaza, fortified with strong defenses. Hamas political leader Yahya Sinjar claimed that the group had dug approximately 310 miles of tunnels under the Gaza Strip. Testimonies from hostages from current and past conflicts have confirmed that they were held as witnesses in this extensive complex of underground tunnels. The Israeli military has created a website specifically for the tunnels, which it refers to as the Underground City of Terror. It is clear that Israel is committed to destroying these tunnels, as they pose a significant threat to its security. On the other hand, the United Nations had raised accusations that Hamas was seizing humanitarian supplies and feeding in these tunnels, but these accusations have been withdrawn. Israel claims that most of the entrances to these tunnels are camouflaged between civilian structures such as schools, mosques, hospitals, and other buildings. In 2014, Israeli forces reported the discovery of a tunnel entrance hidden inside a washing machine at a Palestinian residence, underscoring the cunning of concealment tactics. Hamas fighters are said to use these tunnels equipped with transportation rails to move rockets from hidden launch areas to sites where they can be fired. Within these tunnels, Hamas is alleged to have built sleeping spaces, ventilation systems, medical supplies, and control centers. In addition, designated areas are mentioned for storing food, fuel, weapons, ammunition, and even for the manufacture of rockets. Reports suggest that this entire intricate network of tunnels is interconnected by a telephone system and guarded with mines and explosive devices. Although not all of these claims can be verified, it is evident that Hamas is building a formidable underground fortification beneath the city of Gaza. This system is intended to serve as a trap for Israeli forces and as a safe haven for Hamas members. Israeli forces have previously faced the threat of these tunnels. In 2013, for example, they discovered an invasion tunnel of considerable magnitude, with a depth of 80 feet, originating approximately 3/4 of the way along the Gaza border. After digging beneath the border wall, troops found a 1,000-foot-long tunnel inside Israel, located about 60 feet below the surface. During the 51-day ground invasion of Gaza in 2014, Israeli troops engaged in underground fighting to destroy some of these tunnels. Initially, soldiers had difficulty locating, fighting, and withdrawing from what they called the Gaza Metro. Following this experience, Israel established a specialized tunnel warfare unit, known as Samur, in Hebrew, Weasel, trained specifically for underground operations. The Samur unit has worked for years developing sensors capable of detecting underground tunnels, booby traps, and explosives. They have also devised ground-penetrating radars to identify tunnels, and when they are found, they can neutralize them or block access with specialized weaponry, such as foam bombs. These do not contain explosives, but instead release rapidly expanding foam that hardens, sealing the passages like concrete. In addition, the unit has military dogs specially trained to detect explosives in the tunnels and confront enemy forces. Soldiers in this unit also learn to operate mobile robots equipped with cameras, allowing them to explore tunnels, send images, and deactivate booby traps without putting human lives at risk. The members selected for this unit are reported to be soldiers capable of tolerating the oppressive environment within the tunnels. Israeli soldiers have described the conditions within these underground passages as dark, frightening, and claustrophobic, with figures emerging from the darkness to attack. As a result of these events, Israel has faced several challenges with its neighbors. Israel Defense Forces officials reported that they intercepted a surface-to-air missile launched from Lebanon toward Israeli territory. Spokesman Avichai Adra mentioned that Lebanese fighters were responsible for launching the missile. Furthermore, Adra stated that an Israeli plane had previously attacked a Hezbollah army facility, which had launched a missile towards Israel and landed in Syria. In response, Hamas vowed to oppose the Israeli attacks with all its force. Militants from Al-Qam, the armed wing of Hamas, reported clashes with Israeli troops in Beit Hanun, northeast of Gaza, and in the central Albarez area. As usual, these clashes have seriously impacted the innocent population. Israeli attacks have left Gaza's communications infrastructure in ruins, resulting in a blackout that has isolated around 2.3 million people in Gaza from the outside world. The United Nations Human Rights Chief recently warned of the potential catastrophic consequences of large-scale ground operations in the Gaza Strip, where Israeli airstrikes have claimed thousands of lives. Considering how military operations have unfolded within the context of 56 years of occupation, I am alarmed by the potentially catastrophic consequences of an escalation in ground operations in Gaza, which could result in thousands more civilian casualties, Walker stated. Turk, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Continued violence is in no way the solution, Hagar said, indicating that Israel would allow trucks with food, water, and medicine into Gaza within days. Additionally, he mentioned the possibility of a pause in bombing, at least along the border with Egypt, where some aid has arrived in limited quantities. The World Health Organization has urged humanity, with all its power, to immediately stop the war in Gaza. Every hour there are more injuries, but the ambulances cannot arrive due to the communications blackout, said Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, director of the World Health Organization, concerned about the safety of the Palestinian people in Gaza. The Ministry of Health, under Hamas control, reports a large number of deaths due to Israeli attacks, although these figures cannot be verified. On the other hand, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin met with Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman to address Israel's actions in Gaza. Austin stressed the importance of protecting civilians during Israeli military operations and highlighted the urgency of delivering humanitarian aid to the civilian population in Gaza. He also stressed the need for Hamas to release all hostages, according to an official statement. We appreciate your attention and observance.